Hi, I'm Kristen from Call in Your Light, and I am here today to do a collective message for any zodiac sign, and it is a timeless message. So I trust that when you are compelled to listen to this video, it is the message that's meant for you at that time. This is a relationship message. So we are going to find out today about a person that you are not communicating with right now, and you would like to know why you're not communicating with them right now. And I'm also going to find out what message I can give you so that you can be at peace, regardless of what happens between you and this person, regardless of whether you or they or anybody ever reaches out. I'm going to get some messages from them to you. I'm also going to ask, what are the messages from your higher self to you? And then we're going to find out, what the heck? Let's see if they're going to initiate contact. So let's take a look. When I was thinking about coming on here to talk with you guys, I took some time for meditation, and what I was getting was this sort of like this vision of two people deadlocked in like an arm wrestling kind of situation, and what I was picking up on with this was this sense of, okay, I don't want to go first because it's going to put me in a weakened position. And by a weakened position, somebody feels like, you know what it is? You feel like that you will be weak somehow if you were to be in contact with this person or them for you. That somehow, that's going to make you look weak to them or them to you if you were to reach out, when that doesn't, or them to reach out to you. It doesn't have to be that way. We're finding out here if they're going to reach out to you, but if, it doesn't have to be that you're in a weakened position if you want to reach out. It's about looking at the outcome in a way where you're not attached to it. If you want to reach out because you need that completion, regardless of what they say, it's never about weakness to claim your own power and to do what you need to do for yourself. But I completely understand, because often in your heart it's not right to communicate to them, and it's sort of like sometimes the only completion is the completion we give ourselves. But on the other hand, there are people that I wonder about, why aren't they communicating? So I'm also picking up on that they sort of need to explain themselves, or someone's got to explain themselves, or someone needs to apologize to someone, and that might make them feel weak, even though, when you owe somebody an apology, that's never a weak thing. It's always a strong thing. So it's almost like it shows a weakness of them that they can't be strong enough to come and apologize and to kind of explain themselves and kind of, not leave you in a place of, well, they understand, they get it. Why make it why make the hurt worse? Because it's the generous thing to do, because it's the loving thing to do to someone that you care about, to make sure that they're okay. It's the adult thing to do, to know that sometimes we're going to say things that people don't want to hear, but it's the right thing to do to communicate anyway. So what flew out of the deck was the Two of Swords in reverse. So I mean, this goes to show that lockdown, that deadlock, that I can't make a decision. So let's see, what's the energies going on here between you? What are the past energies? What's the energies between you? All right. Well, someone felt like, what I'm picking up here in this Strength reverse is that this person felt it was almost like they didn't want to give themselves so fully to you, that they didn't want to have to rely on you. They were just you took their breath away. You had a lot to offer them, and you were for that reconciliation that with themselves, the self that they wanted to be, the person who they wanted to step into, who they knew who they had evolved into or could evolve into. You represented that to them on some level, but they also didn't want to be consumed by you. A lot of passion here. You know, there could have been more than one person involved. There could have been, and by one person, another person involved, it could have been their best friend was getting in the way. Because that happens, right? You know, someone's best friend gets jealous of the attention they're not with someone. It could be that a mother, if it was I'm picking up on that if you're, a woman out there and this was a guy, that it could have been their mother. It could have been something like that. It could have been that there was another person involved. They were, how often it is, like we're on apps, we're dating a couple of people, you begin to be drawn towards another person, but then let's say you were dating someone on an app for a couple of months, or they were, and all of a sudden they met you and it was instant. It was like they knew you before in 20 different lifetimes after 2 dates, but then there's this person that was there for a couple of months, who they care about and like as well, but it's just not the same experiences that they had with you. Or it could have been that there was another relationship involved. And so I have to say it because I do see it. But this Three of Cups also represents that reconciliation. Again, this who of becoming who they want to be with you. They didn't realize that there was something missing. There was a piece of themselves that had gone missing. This true, authentic person who it's like they lost a piece of themselves, as we often do in life, and then a person or an event or something will come along and it remind us about who we really are. And I think you reminded them about who they really are, and you had a lot to offer. And it was almost like too consuming. It was like, I've been in relationships and I fell in love quick in the past, and then look at what happened, and I got burnt. And it was almost like, I don't want to get burnt again. This person also, could have ditched, could be ditching relationships in general for money right now, for building themselves up, for they want to build a certain stable situation or a grounded situation for their own personal selves. Or maybe if they are, separating themselves from another situationship, that they want to make sure that they're grounded. And it just takes time. Often, especially as we get older, it's not so easy to reestablish ourselves if we've been a part of something for a long time. And certainly if there's a divorce or a separation involved, there could be a lot of loss of money and not being able to make decisions based on, what do I have? This person thinks I'm really super cool, and really I have nothing. When I picked the crystal card, and it was communication that came out, this beautiful aquamarine card. And so I feel like this person is at this time going back and forth and back and forth. Do I want to reach out? And they could have for a long time. Sometimes they want to reach out and they write the text and then they delete it. And sometimes they want to reach out and they think about, well, where is their email? Can I go find their email? Maybe they check up on you on social media every now and then to see, are they with somebody else? That sort of thing. So that's that. So now let's look at, what do you need to know to be at peace regardless? What do you need to know to be at peace? I'm going to grab one of these cards too. Let's give it a shuffle. All right, so we have the healing card, Malachite, coming up. It came up in the reverse. I don't always really take oracles in reverse, but I do note when they do come up in reverse, and I kind of, I feel with here, you know, you've been, in a sense, blocking your own healing of letting go from this and trying to figure out why aren't they speaking with me, and I think perspective. Trusting that if you're not speaking with this person right now, if you haven't been communicating right with them right now, if you haven't felt compelled to reach out to them and you're on this video because you want to know are they going to reach out to you, it's about gaining a new perspective on why you're not meant to be together right now. What is your own healing is more important. And what's your own healing about? Well, your own healing is about restructuring your life. It's about finding the places where you no longer have faith about your life path. Where have you lost faith in yourself? And tearing down structures in your life right now that aren't working for you so that you can be the best person for yourself and therefore the best person in a relationship. And maybe, you know, being in that relationship would not have fostered your highest self, where you want to be right now. Maybe you wouldn't have healed yourself of things in the past. Maybe you had to do some inner child work. Maybe you had to look at past relationships from a different point of view and realize, wait a second, this person, why do I keep attaching myself to unavailable people or people that have the same issue over and over and over again? You had to relook at that, and you had to tear down some of your own structures in your own life. Maybe you want to change your job, and if you were so consumed, right, with that strength in reverse, if you're so consumed with someone else and being in that romance and being in that passion and wanting to give, you can't be in that receptive mode sometimes. Maybe you had to learn how to sit back and be in a receiving mode as well, so that there can be that beautiful give and take and reciprocity of I give sometimes because I need to give, and then I sit back and I receive. And they need sometimes, but I also need to realize that I need what I need in a relationship, and that's not a bad thing, and that I'm worthy of that, and I'm not a bad person because I'm asking for these simple things, these simple foundational things in a relationship. That this is what my needs are, and that I have a right to my needs, and that sometimes there's not an alignment with what you really need and what they really need, and despite passions and despite chemistry and despite compatibility, that sometimes, you know, you can have 10 boxes checked out of 12, but those two are just, you know, those 2 boxes aren't checked, and they're 2 friggin' important boxes. And that it's about taking into the next experience, yeah, these things really work for me, but I really need this and I really need that. And that doesn't mean that this person can't ultimately give that to you. It just meant that they could not give that to you at that time. And they are also in a healing mode. They are also doing their work on themselves, whatever. You know, in the reverse, when this came out, it's like there were some things about them that weren't healed, that were important. And you know what, if they did go to somebody else, you know, let that person have them that way. Maybe if they did go to someone else, they needed to still learn lessons there that would be of value for you guys to have the most beautiful, the most happy, the most healthy, abundant, passionate, romantic, consistent, truthful and relationship that you possibly can have. Maybe you both obviously needed new perspectives. And these new perspectives that you're gaining are going to be great for you regardless of whether they come back to you or not. And I know that you want them to come back because you're watching this video, and I understand. I feel you. I'm raising my hand too. I've been there. But it's also realizing, what are you going to be doing in your life every single day that makes you happy, that makes you the kind of person that you would want to be around. And maybe what I'm picking up on is, there might have been a little bit trying too hard to please them, trying too hard, and not relaxing and receiving into that understanding that they did really dig you just the way you were. And what happened has nothing to do with them not digging you. It's just, it just was not meant to be at that time. So, let's get some messages from your higher self to you. How about that? What does your higher self want to tell you? What do you already know that you need to be reminded of right here, right now? What does your higher self know? What do you already know that you're like, oh yeah, I know? Or what have you forgotten that you need to be reminded of? Let's see. So, interesting. I did a reading yesterday, and 2 of these 3 cards came out for what does your higher self need to know. So maybe this is just what needs to be put out there to the collective right now. So, so the first card out was I'm starting to understand our connection. And so I think that that's about the perspective that I was talking about. You're finally understanding what it is, the lessons learned. Allowing yourself to learn these lessons and not be angry at yourself and not take it personally or to feel like it's your fault or to be in a blame mode on them. Well, they were just a jerk. Well, maybe they did act like a jerk, and I'm not saying they didn't, because if somehow they aren't communicating with you, and if they truly kind of left it incomplete, because this video is not, if the person broke up with you, this is not your video. Because they were clear. So, but often things these days, as I said, are not clear. With the ghosting and people just not stepping up to the plate and doing the right adult thing to do, which is just say what needs to be said, which is, I can't be with you right now. And often it's left this way because that person actually really does want to be with you, and they can't step forward and say, although I care about you and I do want to be with you, just not right now, or I can't right now, or I need to go sort my shit out right now, and it's not you. And I want you to know before we part how much I care about you. So I knew exactly what I was doing, and you and I were too young. So these were the 2 cards that came out yesterday, and it's very much about, it could have been something that was very new. This is also speaking again to this perspective that, I hold my light here, that maybe you matured in some way, that you grew into your adult self in some way due to this relationship, that you are embracing aspects of who you are that you weren't embracing before, that you are understanding what is it that I need in a relationship. And although it can be sad when someone that you've had a lot of compatibility with ultimately doesn't have that bit of compatibility that would make it work, it's understanding that you are ready for the next lesson, the next phase, the next person. That should they come back should this person communicate with you, that it's not going to be the same, and I'm picking up on this healthy boundary system that you've instilled, and you're worried that should you see them again, you'll melt, and all those boundaries will just melt away, and you'll let them take advantage of you again, and that is not true. You are strong. You are empowered. You have learned the lessons. Seeing them again, you don't have to go back in time and be that person and be taken advantage of if that was the case. I knew exactly what I was doing. So you knew that if there was some stuff that wasn't in alignment, you knew. And did it anyway. So to go back and say, well, you know, them, and they did this, and they did that. There was your part. There was your part in this. You knew what you were doing. You knew that you were stepping into a situation that maybe wasn't quite 100% where you needed to be, or maybe you discovered it along the way. Maybe, you know, you're spending time with someone, and then a couple weeks later, or a couple dates later, or whatever it is, you're realizing it's not in alignment with yourself, but you want to make it in alignment with who you are, that you push. So you knew there was this intuitive hit that you had, that you knew there was something that wasn't quite right. And that's probably why you haven't pushed communication, why you haven't reached out to them. But that doesn't mean that you don't want to hear from them. It doesn't mean that you don't want to know that you are cared about and that you're being thought about. We all want that. So what would they say to you? What are their messages to you? What would they like to say to you? I replay our conversations over and over and over. So this is, I'm going to have to fix this lighting, guys. I apologize. I replay our conversations over and over. So this is two things I'm picking up. That they really loved their conversations with you. That they're looking at the time that you spent together. That there was a quality of conversation. There was a depth. There was a beauty. There was fun. That they felt there was an ease of conversation that maybe they don't have in their life right now anymore. Maybe it was very different types of conversations. Maybe they spoke to you about things that they hadn't spoken about with other people in a really long time. They enjoyed their conversations with you. They think about that. But this is also about something specific that was said at the end of your time together. They're kind of looking at that conversation. They're thinking about it. What I'm picking up on is that they thought about it right after the conversation, when they were deciding not to text you or not to call you, or maybe they said that you were going to talk again, or it was implied and they didn't, but they were thinking about this conversation, and something about it kind of made them realize, made them stop, because it was sort of like, wow, this person really knows me. Wow, this person really sees me. And as beautiful as that is, to really be seen by someone, it means they really see. You really saw them. They really saw you. That means when a person sees, what you perceive as your weaknesses or your ugly places, or where you don't feel perfect, and they care about or love you anyway. And I think that there was that between you, but it was almost like, again, I'm coming back to that strength card in reverse, where it was too much. It's like, no, I can't. How could someone still appreciate and love me after they've really seen me? And it's almost like maybe they're going to change their mind, or I can't be seen this way. You were the best thing in my life. So you were at a time where, at a time of uncertainty, at a time where they had lost themselves, who they were, who they felt like, who am I now? I feel like there's an essential piece of me that somehow has been lost, and that I've evolved in many ways, but I've lost a part of myself too that I would like to include in this evolution. I want to bring back this piece, maybe this piece of when they were a teenager or in their 20s, or when they were feeling at a time where they felt really creative or really empowered, that you reminded them of that you made them feel like they could integrate who they are now with the pieces of themselves that they always loved about themselves, that they feel like they've lost a little bit of. That's what I'm picking up on that. It was my fault, but I blamed you. So So that could be literal, or that also is speaking to me of they recognize that they kind of did that they've done what they've done, that they did something to sort of ruin or to put everything at a standstill, or but they're thinking to themselves, but this is the best for them, or they really weren't the best for me, and it's sort of like having that list. And how dare they make that list of pros and cons of you? You are not a pros and cons list, but it's like this sense of, this is why this isn't going to work, and like they're trying to convince themselves as to why the relationship is not right for them right now, or this is what I've got to fix out of my life, or maybe if they're not in my life anymore, it'll make me realize that I need to make these changes in order to be with them. But then what I'm picking up on is a sense of comfortability that, maybe if they don't have access to you, that will be the impetus for them to make these changes in their life. But then when you're not there, it's also like, it's almost like a relief. I don't have to make these huge changes, especially this could have to do with other partnerships, if that's the case, or whatever it is, these big changes that they have to make. So let's just find out for the heck of it. Is this person, because that's what we all want to know, right? Are they going to communicate with us? All right, so I feel like this person is reaching the end of a cycle of life right now, as you are, because whenever you're very connected with someone, even if they've sort of acted like an asshole, if there's this connection and you know it's there, there's always a mirror, right? So, what's the mirror here to help you with the lesson? But there's this sort of like exhaustion going on, and I feel like this is their own negative self-talk, but this is also perhaps someone in their life that is really difficult to deal with. I'm not picking up on this as you were them. And a court card doesn't have to be a person. It could also be an energy. So, if there's not another person involved, this is their own negative self-talk about the constant exhaustion that they're feeling right now. It's almost like, but if I can just get there, and if I could just do this, and if I get that money, and if that contract comes in, or if I can buy that house, or if my children can be settled in this sort of way. And it's a constant excuse, but the excuses are sort of like these logical things, but yet they're excuses nonetheless. But this very well could be a person, and you'll know if this is a person who really is a real, direct to the point of being really harsh with their words. This person is a bit of a bully, I'm hearing. This person knows how to talk to this person to cut them down, to make them feel bad. This could actually be a person they're divorced to, or a person that's just the mother of their children that they are divorced to, or the father of their children, because it's a general read, so we're not going to say feminine, or I'm not picking up on just feminine or masculine energy right now. And of course, feminine can be a man or a woman, right? We all have feminine and masculine energy in us. So, but this is a person that knows how to get this person where they live emotionally. They know what to say to emotionally dig at this person, to make them feel exhausted. And there has been a constant delay in the switching up of what is going to inevitably happen. Like there is something that is inevitably going to happen that just never quite happens. And the reason why it never quite happens is because likely a person is feeling emotionally run down, but they're also afraid of some sort of money situation that as well. Maybe they've lost work. Maybe they feel like that there's not enough money somehow, or they're feeling that they don't have access to their own inner and outer resources. So they're feeling like, I don't know how to get out of this situation. They don't know how to structure their life to make this, to make somehow getting out of this situation somehow worthwhile to them, that they could still get out of this situation and still be comfortable. This is financial devastation. They'll feel like if this is some sort of divorce, or if this is a person that they're divorcing or separated from, or that they are already divorced from, it's like the money pit is what I'm getting, and feeling like there's never going to be any satisfaction. Like, it was almost like what this is they were almost too comfortable for too long. And now, but they weren't really comfortable. It was like somebody was band-aiding the situation, and they were putting scotch tape and crazy glue in a big gaping hole and sticking it in there, and it was inevitably going to fall apart. But it felt and looked comfortable. Maybe it looked comfortable to the outside, to other family. Maybe there's potentially, what will everybody think? We're the perfect couple, or we're the perfect couple. Or maybe they're going around saying that I'm, that all I care about is money. I don't want to give them any money. I don't want to share with them. But the thing is that transformation is inevitable. The situation must transform. And I did pick up on the communication card early on. So there will be a transformation here coming up to this situation. But this person is feeling, I have to say, kind of like crap right now. And it's really super important that you not let it affect you. Let me pull a few more cards and what wants to come out there. This person's going to stay at a stalemate for a little while longer before they get to this transformation. So let's get one more card here. So what I'm seeing is communication coming in, but this person is going to be pushed to an absolute limit. They're going to be pushed to an inevitable. They're going to be pushed to what they've been trying to avoid, and forced to transform and to change before they reach out to you. Let me see this here. So there is movement, right? But as you can see here, you just don't know what's around the corner. And there's a reason why this wolf is by themselves, and there's a reflection mode that still needs to be worked through. People still need to reflect. This person still needs to reflect on themselves and their life before they can jump into relationship. And there's a message here about going on, this reminds me of the Hermit card, about going on your own inner journey. This is really interesting because this wolf is standing on the other side, you see, of this sort of like this icy body of water, and this is an icy body of water. So you are on a journey. Both of you are on your own separate journey right now, as it's meant to be. but you will get to the other side, and there will be communication after a transformation, and after people walk away from what looks satisfying on the outside, or what has been satisfying but no longer is satisfactory. So I'm going to stop there because I'm at 35 minutes. I want to thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. I hope that you will like this video. I hope that you will subscribe if these messages resonated with you. And love yourself. And don't stop doing what you need to do for yourself on this journey that you're on. I know it's easier said than done. It's such a cliche, but it's true. It's about doing the things that you really love and being the type of person that you would want. Much love. Bye-bye.